Radhya Ramakrishna, and I'm here with another brand new topic, the Chinese civilization. So basically, in the previous videos, we have covered quite a few river valley civilizations like the Indus Valley civilization, etc. So with the Chinese civilization, we will be completing all the river valley civilizations. So I'm quite excited for this video. So let's just dive straight in. So this is just a simple summary of what we're going to learn today, the learning outcomes. So let's get started. Starting with the location and origin of the Chinese civilization. So the Chinese civilization is a river valley civilization that originated along the banks of the Honghe River, that is also known as the Yellow River, according to archaeologists, like about 2000 BCE. At the time of 2000 BCE. Now the Honghe River or the Yellow River is also known as the Sorrow of China, since it changed its course after floods, causing damage to the crops and settlements in the area. So yeah, that's not a good thing. So yeah. However, archaeologists also tell us that they see a flourishing culture in China as early as 4000 BCE. So by the time of 2000 BCE, China not only knew, the Chinese people not only knew the use of wheel carts and pottery, but also started harvesting and weaving silk. Also they baked clay bricks and also started taking flood control and irrigation measures by building canals. So yeah, they improved quickly. So China was ruled under many dynasties. These dynasties, the dynastic rule in China that was named after many dynasties and many kings, include these dynasties, these 5 dynasties. So basically our first dynasty is the Xia dynasty that came in between 2000 BCE and 1600 BCE. Next we have the Shang dynasty. I was just a bit too lazy to write dynasty here, so you guys get the idea. So next we have the Shang dynasty, then the Zhou dynasty, the Qin dynasty, and the Han dynasty. The Shang dynasty came in about 1600 BCE to 1046 BCE. The Zhou dynasty came in about 1046 BCE to 256 BCE, and what's next? The Qin dynasty came in between 221 BCE to 206 BCE, and the Han dynasty came in between 206 BCE, not in between, like it flourished in between 206 BCE to 220 CE. So yeah, now the first dynasty, that is the Xia dynasty, is the earliest ruling dynasties of China, and this dynasty basically is the oldest dynasty. However, there is not much evidence supporting the Xia dynasty. Now recorded history begins with the Shang dynasty. Not sure you all can see it with me standing on the board. Anyway, recorded history starts with the Shang dynasty. During the Shang rule, the Shangs were one of the first to unite a large area of China under one ruler. The Shangs were one of the first to unite a large area of China under one ruler. During the Shangs, there was a sharp social distinction between the rich and the poor, so better watch out. And the Shangs stayed in power for about 700 years. Moving on, we've got the Zhou dynasty. The Zhous came after the Shangs in about 1046 BCE, and the Zhous were basically, they were great builders. They built roads and canals to ease the transportation of people and goods as well as goods. Many cities came up during the Zhou dynasty period, and Zhou China was dotted with walled cities outside whose boundaries lived the merchants, farmers, and slaves and peasants, and all the we're going to learn about that when we come to social structure, so not right now, but anyways. Next we have the Qin dynasty that came after the Zhou dynasty. Basically the Qin dynasty came after the Zhou dynasty, and it gained control over civilized China, and they crowned China's first emperor. Emperor Qin Shi Huang crowned himself the first emperor of China. Now Emperor Qin was very unpopular with his people because of his suspicious nature. Basically, he wanted to be surrounded by his guards all the time, and when I said all the time, trust me, I mean all the time. So yeah, when he died, his successor had thousands of life-size terracotta soldiers placed in his tomb, so that he wouldn't be worried, because Chinese people, like many other people of many other civilizations, believed in life after death. So next we have the Han dynasty. The Han dynasty was is basically originated between 206 BCE, and it was one of the greatest periods of ancient China. So moving on, let's learn about the main features of the Chinese civilization. Please don't fall, this is not the time for falling. Okay, the main features of the Chinese civilization include town planning, architecture, social structure. I just got a little diagram thingy to make you understand. Family life, occupation. We got many types of occupations because they obviously won't be stuck with one occupation. Trade and commerce, religion and culture, and another topic which we're going to come to after we're done with main features. So let's start with town planning. So basically, the Egyptian, the Chinese, I can't get past the Egyptian civilization for some reason. Okay, the Chinese civilization people, basically the urbanization in the Chinese civilization started in the later Neolithic age, and a city in the Chinese civilization during the Zhou dynasty, the Changzhou city, was developed on the basis of the Holyfield symbol. Roads ran parallel to each other from north to south, only to be cut off by roads that ran from east to west. And yeah, they had profound skills. Let's just say that for now. And also houses were built with wood and stones and bricks. Basically, did they build them with bricks? Yeah, probably. And also, the houses of the rich were beautifully planned and made, while the houses of the poor were simple. The doors of the houses were always, and I mean always, south facing. Now moving on, let's move on to architecture. So now when we come to architecture, the Chinese are very brilliant at architecture. Now one of the things that display Chinese grandeur of their architectural skills are basically the Great Wall of China, which is a massive example. Chinese always had threats with Mongolian invasions, so many of the rulers, to check this threat, built strong independent walls along their northern boundaries to check this threat. And Qin Shi Huang of the Qin dynasty built he joined all of those independent walls to make one large wall, that is the Great Wall of China, which became one of the 7 wonders of the world. So yeah, I think the Chinese deserve a big round of applause for that. I'm sorry, I'm just one person, so I don't have 1,000 hands. This is just a small round of applause. Anyways, so the Great Wall of China is also like 2,400 kilometers long, and another basically the Chinese built houses. They had a courtyard, and their houses were, the roofs that they built were curved and to basically look like bird wings. Now moving on, another thing that shows Chinese grandeur of their architecture are the pagodas. So they're basically religious buildings. Pagodas were built by Buddhists to store relics. Relics are basically a part of a person's body or clothing that they store. So basically pagodas were used for these reasons, and one of the pagodas, namely the Liadi Pagoda, is one of the tallest pagodas in the world. So big round of applause for the Chinese civilization for that as well. Now moving on to social structure, we've got 5 groups in social structure. So the social structure of the Chinese civilization, basically like many other civilizations, included the emperor at the top and the farmers and slaves at the bottom. So yeah, that's basically a bit common. So the emperor here is at the top category. Then we've got scholars below the emperor. Then we got the merchants and traders in the 3rd category, and then we got the artisans and craftsmen in the 4th category, and finally in the 5th category, or the last category, whatever you want to call it, we got the farmers and slaves. Moving on to family life, which is important, so let's get to it. Anyway, the Chinese families were closely knit, and they greatly respected their ancestors and elders as well, which is a good thing. And family was one of the most important units. It was basically the most important unit of the society. like young people were expected to respect elders, and respecting elders is one of the most important virtues that young people were expected to have. And the eldest male was the head of the family. And basically ancestor worship was also common in the Chinese civilization, along with the worship of other gods of nature, nature such as sky, rain and river. We'll get to that in religion and culture. For now, let's stick with family life, which we're about to get done with in a minute or so. Anyway, so basically, women were expected to be gentle and obedient and respectful to the male members of the family, as well as elders of the family, as well as elders basically. So moving on, let's move on to occupation. Now the Chinese were involved with many occupations, and I mean, yeah, many occupations, including farming, animal husbandry, pottery, also woodwork and sericulture. So basically, let's learn about their occupations in a bit detail. So starting with farming or agriculture, the Chinese, I can't get past the Egyptian civilization for some reason. Let's just move on. The Chinese civilization, so basically the Chinese civilization were very good at agriculture. Basically the abundant water that they got from the Honghe River and the fertile soil and good irrigation facilities were conducive for agricultural activities. They invented rice farming techniques. Also they grew crops like wheat, barley, soya beans and many other stuff like ginger and Chinese cabbage and green onions, and they also grew Japanese plums in the farms and many other stuff. These were just a few to name. They also were one of the first to cultivate tea and use it for medicinal purposes. So yeah, they got a medicine on their hand. Anyway, moving on to animal husbandry or domestication of animals. Basically the Chinese people domesticated many animals such as cattle, sheep, goats, horses, dogs. These are a few to name. And also many wild animals were hunted down for meat, skin, bones, horns. So yeah, pottery and woodwork this is basically in the category of art and craft. So coming to pottery and woodwork, let's just stick with pottery for now. So the Chinese people are known for their great works of ceramic pottery that came from, of course, the Han Dynasty. This ceramic pottery was known for its exquisite forms, shapes and finishing, also delicate use of color. So yeah, they were profound at pottery. So these the advent of porcelain, that is a pottery clay, came from the Han Dynasty obviously, and basically the advent of porcelain led to the making of cups, jars and saucers and all the handy cutlery stuff. So yeah, now moving on to woodwork. Besides pottery, a large quantity of wood was also found in China, especially timber, and wood was basically used for building houses, and they also used wood for building beautiful wood furniture for these houses and for people's uses basically. And yeah, loads of other stuff. Moving on to sericulture. Basically, sericulture is the process of the cultivation of silkworms into silk. Now these silkworms were reared on mulberry trees, and then their cocoons were collected and then they were processed to make silk on large scale. And though silk was and they basically eventually just ended up creating and inventing silk. So yeah, thank you Chinese civilization, because that's a very useful silk or cloth or fabric, whatever. Now, though silk was the main item of export for them, the tradition of silk making remained a secret among the Chinese for a long time, for about the 5th century CE, which is a long time to keep a secret. I'm actually impressed they could do that for so long, because I definitely couldn't. Now anyway, moving on to trade and commerce. Now, Now, the Chinese traded basically with the rest of the world through the Silk Road. Now, the Silk Road had three main branches. One at the north that led to the Black Sea, one at the center that led to the Persia and Mediterranean Sea, and one at the south that led to the India, basically from where I come from India, Afghanistan, and Iran as well. So yeah, they used to trade basically, and they used to trade items like many other stuff like silk, silk and tea and iron and many other items as well. And they used to trade these with other countries, and the other countries in return took from them like precious jewels and horses, and these were just a few among the trading items. So yeah, basically you people know all the trading stuff going on between the modern world. Anyway, moving on to contributions of the modern world, we've got script and hang on. Okay, where did religion and culture go? Who swallowed that one? Sorry. Okay, so coming to religion and culture now. So yeah, the Chinese basically worshipped many forces of nature such as suns, river, and rain. Also, ancestor worship was also common. Now, the Chinese people believed in life after death like many other civilizations did. They believed that death turned a person into a spirit with supernatural powers. So they buried the dead. Basically, they wrapped the dead in a matting, and the tombs of kings, however, was spacious. The inside was built very spaciously. Now, when we come to religion and culture in particular, we've got two sorts of religions that we're going to talk about today, that is Confucianism and Buddhism. So first of all, coming to Confucianism, Confucius was a great philosopher of ancient China, and he was the thinker of China. His thought and his words had a great influence on Chinese life and Chinese thought. Basically, he said that show people respect and they will respect you. Be generous and you will win their hearts. Be sincere and you will win their trust. Be earnest and you will achieve great things. So yeah, those were some wise words. Trust me, they are wise. So thank you, Confucius. Yeah, anyway, moving on. So basically, Confucianism became a state religion of China during the ruling of the Han Dynasty. It became a state religion. Now, moving on to Buddhism. Buddhism basically started to become famous in ancient China, and many of the travelers such as Huansang, Itzin, Fahian traveled to India and translated Buddhist classicals into Chinese. So those were three notable people. Now Buddhism had unchallenged competition for about the 7th and 8th century CE. So yeah, moving on to contributions that the Chinese civilization has to the modern world. We've got literature, science and mathematics, technology and other inventions. So coming to script/literature, basically the Chinese invented the Chinese script that is basically is in pictographic form, and they wrote on bamboo strips using a fine brush, and they wrote from top to bottom. Also, the Chinese script is actually still to date used in China, but in a more simplified form. So yeah, moving on to science and mathematics, we've got the Chinese invented a calendar consisting of 365 days and 12 months. Also, they invented the abacus, which is a counting device used to learn math. So moving on, we've got technology on our list as well. Now, the Chinese were credited with many inventions. They are basically so clever that they invented many things. Now, the earliest seismograph used to record earthquakes was invented by Zhang Heng in 132 BCE during the Han Dynasty, and basically the seismograph is used to record earthquakes. That was the first seismograph used to record earthquakes. So Anyway, the Chinese also invented the art of block printing using wood block. These wood blocks were carved, inked and pressed on the surface of the paper, and you got wood art finally. Was a block art. Yeah, they invented the art of block printing. Yeah, block printing. The Chinese also are credited to many other inventions. They also are credited to many other inventions. So let's move on to the other inventions that they are credited for. Now, the Chinese were way ahead of their time, and the world credits them for many inventions. So basically, one of the obvious ones is paper. The Chinese invented paper from barks of old trees. Also, they used kites to signal the army about warfare, so that's some sort of secret letter, which is very clever. And they invented firecrackers and gunpowder to be used in warfare, and basically they did many other stuff. They were also one of the first to use umbrellas to protect themselves from the rain and the sun and whatever else stuff umbrellas are used for. Now they also invented paper, which I have already told you all before. Now moving on, let's move on to the decline of the Chinese civilization. And honestly, I gotta tell you something, the Chinese civilization is so brilliant that it did not even go through a period of decline, which is crazy, because that's a great accomplishment, people. So basically, the Chinese civilization is unique from the other civilizations, that basically the other civilizations eventually faded away, and they went through a period of decline, they started falling apart, and then eventually they faded away to extinction, while the Chinese civilization basically continued well into modernity under the rule of various dynasties, while finally at some point the dynastic rule of China was put an end to when it became a republic. So while internal conflicts led to the rise of one dynasty and the fall of another, the internal prospects of China never really changed. So it continued well into modernity and under the rule of various dynasties, and finally when it became a republic, somewhere around 1911 CE, it became a republic, and basically it still exists. So yeah, that's a great accomplishment, people, because you're telling me a civilization that started in ancient periods still exists, because that is a great accomplishment, and I have no idea how they did it, but finally, it's still basically some of the traditions, many of the traditions in China still go uninterrupted. They still go uninterrupted and are still followed in China, and are still uninterrupted in China till today. So yeah, I cannot stop praising about that civilization. Anyways, so that's all about the Chinese civilization, people. So this is everything that we've learned in today's video. Basically 3 topics, and we got tons of subtopics, and we got all these dynasties, and that's an all over review of the Chinese civilization. So hope you people like this video. I guess that's it for today. Until next time, I'm Aradhya. I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned for more videos by subscribing my channel, and Lord Jesus, please help me. Bye bye.